A girl was given a tickling punishment for losing a game show. Stay in the video till the end for the full story. America's most famous and mysterious underground reality show, The Fearless Game, was in its grand finale. The unique feature of this show was that the loser did not receive an ordinary punishment. Instead, they had to face their greatest weakness. Chloe Miller, a 21-year-old college student, had entered the show to raise money for her sister's medical treatment. She was very brave, but she had one weakness. She was terrified of being tickled. She was so sensitive that even if someone brought a hand close to her, she couldn't stop laughing. By a twist of fate, Chloe lost in the final round. The host, Marcus Stone, announced dramatically, "Chloe Miller, now you must face the punishment of the laughing chamber." Chloe was seated in the middle of the stage on an old oak chair. Her feet were locked into a wooden block, leaving her soles completely exposed and vulnerable. The rule of the show was that she had to endure the tickling silently for 15 minutes. If she succeeded, she would still receive half of the prize money as a consolation award, enough for her sister's surgery. 2 robotic arms fitted with peacock feathers and silicone brushes moved toward Chloe's feet. The audience held their breath. As the punishment began, Chloe pressed her lips between her teeth. The feathers slowly crept over the soft skin of her soles. Tears streamed from her eyes. Her face turned red, and her body began to tremble violently. She was doing everything she could to stop herself from laughing. Because this wasn't just a game, it was her sister's life. Then, in the middle of the show, a video screen turned on. On the screen was Chloe's little sister watching from a hospital bed. In a weak voice, she said, "Chloe, you can do it. Just a little more." Seeing this, even the audience's eyes filled with tears. This was no longer a fun game show. It had become a sister fighting for her sister. Chloe's body twisted in agony from the tickling. The brushes now moved rapidly between her toes and near her heels. A muffled laugh escaped her, but she quickly turned it into a sob. 7 minutes had passed. Then Marcus Stone raised the suspense and said, "Start level 2. Now, instead of robotic arms, 2 real clowns stepped in. They began tickling not only Chloe's feet, but also her ribs and near her neck. It was becoming impossible for Chloe to hold back. She wanted to burst into uncontrollable laughter, but her courage was anchored in her sister's voice. Suddenly, the entire studio went dark. Only a single spotlight remained on Chloe. A mysterious voice echoed, "Chloe, if you can endure for 2 more minutes, you will make history." The ticking of the clock could be heard clearly. Chloe's body was drenched in sweat. The clowns used their fingers to deliver the most intense attack on her soles. Chloe's throat tightened. She looked upward, shut her eyes tightly, and fought on. 14 minutes. 14 minutes, 30 seconds. 14 minutes, 50 seconds. The moment 15 minutes were completed, colorful confetti rained down across the studio. The lights came back on. Chloe slumped in the chair. She was neither laughing nor crying. She was simply gasping for breath. Marcus Stone rushed onto the stage and said, "Chloe, you did it." But here comes the twist. Marcus revealed that the entire show was actually a social experiment. It was not truly about tickling punishment. It was about seeing how far a human being could go for love. He announced that Chloe would receive not just half the prize money, but the entire amount, because her endurance had won the hearts of all of America. And the funniest part came after the show ended, when Chloe was finally unrestrained. She angrily tickled Marcus in return. Marcus, known as a very serious host, rolled around the stage laughing like a child. That night marked the beginning of a new life for Chloe and her sister. America witnessed the story of a girl who turned her laughter into her greatest victory. After leaving Marcus rolling on the stage, Chloe felt that everything was finally right. But just as she walked backstage holding her prize check, she sensed that the real thrill of the show was only about to begin. As soon as Chloe entered the dark backstage corridor, the atmosphere completely changed. The camera crew was gone, and a heavy silence filled the space. Suddenly, she received a message on her phone. It was from her sister's number, but it contained only a location pin and a message below it. "The game is not over yet, Chloe. The real prize is still waiting." Chloe's heart began to race. She couldn't tell whether this was part of the show or a real danger. Following the location, she moved toward the studio basement. The basement door slowly opened. Old photographs were hanging all around. These were pictures of every contestant who had lost on the show over the past 10 years. Chloe noticed that none of them had ever been seen publicly again after the show. Then she heard sobbing coming from one room. She quietly moved toward it, and what she saw shocked her to the core. Her sister was not lying on a hospital bed. She was perfectly fine, sitting on a chair. In front of her was a large monitor displaying Chloe's every movement. Standing beside her was none other than Marcus Stone, the same man Chloe had just tickled on stage. Chloe screamed, "What is all this? What are you doing here? And why don't you look sick?" Tears filled her sister Lily's eyes. She said, "Chloe, please forgive me. I was never sick. This was all part of a bigger plan. Marcus is actually an old friend of our father." Marcus stepped forward and handed Chloe an old document. He explained that Chloe's father had been a renowned psychologist who wanted to prove how the human mind works. Under the pressure of love and laughter, he had placed his entire fortune into a trust that could only be given to Chloe if she conquered her greatest weakness, tickling, and showed unbreakable sacrifice for her sister. Chloe realized that this was the biggest prank and test of her life. Overcome with emotion, she hugged her sister. But then Marcus said with a mischievous smile, "But Chloe, there is still one final part of the test remaining." Chloe asked in shock, "What now?" Marcus pressed a remote, and thousands of real and fake feathers rained down from the ceiling. A powerful wind filled the room, sending the feathers flying everywhere. Lily and Marcus both ran toward Chloe and began tickling her. This time, Chloe didn't resist. She laughed openly, laughed so hard that tears of joy flowed from her eyes. What she once thought was hell had now become the happiest moment of her life. The next morning, all of America watched a special episode on television. Chloe Miller, the girl who conquered fear. Chloe used the prize money, not only for her sister, but also to create a foundation for people struggling mentally with their weaknesses. Marcus and Chloe now host the show together, and its name has been changed from the silent chair to the laughter chamber. And yes, even today, if anyone tries to scare Chloe at home, they receive a tickling punishment in return. After the show's massive success, Chloe was no longer just a contestant. She had become the co-host of the laughter chamber. But one night, during a live broadcast, something happened that took the story in a new and dangerous direction. A new contestant arrived on stage. His name was Alex White. Alex appeared calm, but there was a strange intensity in his eyes. When Marcus asked why he had come on the show, Alex looked directly at Chloe and said, "I am here to challenge Chloe Miller. I want to see whether she is just as brave when giving punishment as she was when enduring it herself." The entire studio fell silent. This was not part of the script. Marcus tried to control the situation, but Alex placed a black envelope on the table. Inside was an old photograph of Chloe's father, with secret coding written on the back. Chloe's face went pale. That coding belonged to her father's research diary that had disappeared years ago. Alex made a deal. If he won the game, Chloe would have to give him that diary, which was actually being kept safely by Marcus. And if he lost, he would reveal a secret that would change Lily's life forever. The game began, but this time, Chloe was the one giving the punishment. She had to seat Alex in the same chair and subject him to 15 minutes of tickle torture. As Chloe put on the gloves and picked up the brushes, she felt that Alex was no ordinary man. When she began working on his feet and ribs, instead of laughing, Alex simply smiled. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes passed. Alex showed no reaction. He was as still as stone. Chloe's hands began to shake. It felt as though she wasn't tickling a human being, but a robot. Then Alex whispered softly, "Chloe, a little to the right. I'm more ticklish there." Chloe was stunned. How did he know what she was thinking? In that moment, she realized Alex was her father's last student, a subject in his research. Suddenly, Lily ran onto the stage screaming, "Chloe, stop. This is not Alex. This is our brother." All of America was shocked. Years ago, Chloe's father had adopted a son and sent him away on a secret mission. Alex had come to test whether Chloe, after gaining success, had become cruel. Alex stood up, released the straps himself, placed his hand on Chloe's head, and said, "You passed, little sister. Even while giving punishment, you showed compassion, not hatred." The cameras were still rolling. This episode became the most watched broadcast in American television history. But the suspense was not over. As the three of them, Chloe, Lily, and Alex, walked out after the show. Marcus Stone was gone. In his place lay a note on the table. The real game begins now. I have the last page of Father's diary. If you want it, come to the Silent Valley. Chloe looked at her sister and her newly discovered brother. Now they didn't just have money, they had a team. They vowed to end Marcus's new mysterious game once and for all. And with that, this video comes to an end. If you want to watch more stories like this, please subscribe to the channel.